the performance practices of Baroque music. And she, in her discussion of Baroque music, ends up talking about, of course, earlier things.
Oh, there's a big thing in performance of 16th century music by, you gave me the title, you turned me on to, was it Anne Smith?
I don't remember the performance practice of medieval music, that one.
No, of 16th century music.
Right,
I just ordered it, but I don't have it with me.
It's probably...
I think it's Anne Smith and not Anne Lloyd. I can't think of her last name, I think it's Anne Smith.
Okay.
But if you want to check with me later,
Yes.
I will have it in my hands in a week when it arrives.
So we have 5 minutes to ask questions.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so that's the next direction. I would
Yes,
love to
hex
see you
chords,
go.
got it.
Figure that out.
Vocal stylistic question.
Yeah.
So, choice of mask placement?
Wow, I haven't thought about this in years. Didn't think about it. So there you go. What would you say for this?
So,
Or should we talk later?
German school versus Italian school.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. We'll talk later. Okay,
We'll talk about
absolutely.
that.
Talk about that. Talk to me about
Okay.
Question,
other stuff.
how would this have been performed? Would it have had instrumentation? I understand that it's not part of the liturgy.
Right.
But tell me something about the setting.
As far as we know, vocal. The thing is that because her text was so important to her, she wrote the text for it. It was very important to her. The text was part of it, and it was part of her community. Music was part of their day-to-day, outside of church even. Well, they didn't really get outside of church, but you know what I mean, outside of liturgy.
Right.
That was part of their social life and what they did. So there are many, there are different, there are of course good arguments for it was probably more than one person singing, and there was probably an anchor tone maybe at some point. There's probably real terms for this that I've forgotten, but or some kind of accompaniment. But that's about as far as I know, honestly. Yeah, because they were definitely written down for voice with the words.
I noticed in your breakdown that you're using undertext. So, are you also using the subtext, the cranial subtext as you're working through the piece?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, to be honest. What I did was translated a few different ways by sentence. Well, first I found other people's translations as well, and then did by sentence and by phrase and tried to do by word. It's real hard, I'm not gonna lie. And then just had it in the text as I was learning the piece.
I noticed that section where you have hit words, which
Yes.
led me to believe you might have done an underscore.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, yeah. But because when you're singing, I can multitask pretty well, but I'm not that good, and so you really just need one idea to pop at you. So what's the main point here in this line, or
You've
what's
answered my question.
Okay,
Use
good,
the subtext.
excellent. Okay.
Good. Lovely pitch. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. And then, looks like you're using Romanized Latin.
I tried to look up German Church Latin, and there were definitely some things in there that I wouldn't have done instinctively. So, and I'm more schooled in Italian Latin, and so I assumed it was at least an attempt.
I noticed you turned a couple of your I and id phrases upward in the German school. So it looked like you had done a pass at that.
Yeah.
There's a couple more funky words.
Okay.
I can show
No,
Are there questions from the audience?
you. Do you guys have anything?
The notation on the facsimile you've got there looks really different from, certainly from modern, but also from later medieval things that I've seen. Were you able to use that, or were you able to?
Oh no, I'm not that level yet.
Do you have any
real early. She's
comments
right.
about how
Yeah.
how that's transformed into something that you can use?
Well, the super basics, it's still the same. There's a mark that means a thing.
Right.
Generally,
Part
yeah. Generally, one mark could also mean lots of notes, which is something we don't do anymore.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as I get. It's real. Anyway.
Did you
I
use
have a really good
versions that
resource in
were-
the
Oh,
chat.
excellent.
I do too.
Excellent.
did you use ones that other people had
Yes,
translated?
there is
it
one
from?
book that is pretty much considered there's a woman who has transcribed all 77 of the pieces that Hildegard is attributed to having written, and they're pretty much the Bible of it, and I did use those.
Basically, the pitches are there for us, and the rhythms are not. In that, at that time period, the notation just doesn't tell us much about rhythm.
What would you do differently?
Start earlier, but everybody probably says that.
When did you start? It sounds like you had a pretty good run on it.
When did I start? Definitely before it's time. Oh,
Well,
yeah,
let me
it
answer
is.
this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say November, with the simple like trying to find a piece, because I started with just an idea. I heard about Hildegard in church. I want to look into Hildegard, and then
I usually start the month after the competition ends.
probably would have been a good idea. Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I borrow that for our chat?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do
Meeting up.
you need anything else from me?